Okay.
Exactly.
Pretty short day today, so I want to give you as much time as I can to get you as much work done as you can. So on today's announcement, and this goes for everybody at home too, there's a spot right there to submit your work. Once you get it done, page 142 and 145. If you've already done that, great. If you finished it but didn't get a chance to submit it, now's the time to do that. But of course, you have today to get that done. And then the other thing that I did, got my grad school work done on time. Amazing. So cool. It was super interesting stuff, so that was even more fun. And wrote the review. So I have a review for you that's sitting right here. Actually, like everything from this test is sitting right there on today's announcement, or you can just go to the assignment for the Unit 2 test, call it Test 2. There's a link to the digital version of that review. And I made, a handful or two of copies. Is there anybody that wants a physical copy rather than a hand? Okay, so I'll probably have to make some more, but I'll take it like this. So this is pretty all-inclusive of probably what you would need. And you'll see that at the end, once we get there, you'll see that at the end, there's additional practice from the pages that we're not going to do. Okay? Okay, so I need to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more. Okay, I'll do that. 8 more. Cool. So let me print that right now. Unit 2 review. No, not share city. Let's print it. I'll just make 10. So I have a couple extra. So let me go get those, but let's just kind of look at this real quick, and then you'll have some time to work. Okay. The other thing that I will do is get the solutions for you. I'm up to number 18, working on that. Already have 1 through 17 ready to go. So I'm hoping to have those done, even just while we're working today. But if not, I'll try to get it done during 8th and post it today. Worst case scenario, I'll post it tonight. Decision is final now. We're going to do it over 2 different days, and I kind of broke down what's going to happen on each day, so you know what to prepare for. So if you want to kind of focus on, a couple ideas for one night and then a couple ideas for the next as you're preparing, that's cool too. So limit definition, basic power rule stuff, and then just knowing the derivatives of the sinusoids. You don't have to prove them. Okay. And then the next day, we'll just have some more complex power rule problem ones like, radicals and negative exponents, things like that. And then what we've been doing lately. Okay, first derivative test with critical values, increasing, decreasing, and coordinates of relative extreme. Okay, so let me go get those copies, and then I'm going to come back through and put up the work for 145, page 145, so you're feeling pretty good about that. We can talk about anything. But feel free to get started. This is optional, not graded review. Okay, do as much or as little as you think you need to. And notice that kind of it's broken down into each of those sections with limit definition. Okay, the limit definition will not be given to you on test day, so make sure you know it. Limit as h goes to 0, f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. But maybe you don't have to do all 5. Maybe you pick 3 of the harder ones, or an easy one and 2 medium ones, and then the hardest, whatever you think you need to do. Okay. Part 2 just talks about notation in the language. How do we say this stuff out loud? How do we write it down? Just being able to be comfortable with, like the y prime or f prime of x version versus the dy dx or the ddx. Okay. Apparently I spelled that wrong. Cool. Thank you. And so with part 1, you have to use limit definition. But can you look at these and know what the answer is supposed to be? Can you, in your mind, use the power rule so you know what answer you're supposed to get? You should, right? If I know this is going to be 3, if I know this is going to be 2x plus 3, if this is going to be 6x minus 5, then I better get that when I do my limit. So having that foresight is going to help make sure you get it right, which is awesome. Part 3 is just power rule, kind of using that shortcut as best you can. I had one easy one, and then kind of build from there with some different kind of challenging ones. No negative exponents, no rational exponents. If you want, and I will not make you do it, but writing it as a single rational function, feel free to do that. The only one that I did not end up doing that on the solutions for was number 12, because creating common denominator was super gross, so I'm just not going to do it. And then part 6 gets into the intervals and sine of f prime and the behavior of f of x, kind of setting the derivative equal to 0, finding those critical values, testing some values and figuring out what you're working with, find the coordinates of any relative extrema, and then just some additional stuff in case you felt like you needed more. Again, I will do the solutions for all of those so you can see how those go, but you're going to see it's very similar to a lot of the things that we've done. But it's not everything on those 6 pages I kind of handpicked, and there's a bunch of them, but there's lots of good ones in case you feel like you need some more, right? Do as much as you think you need to. Notice that for 19, right, I'm limiting the interval there. These two will just be negative infinity to infinity. Check all those out. And hopefully I did it right. So far, so good. The answers have worked out the way that I wanted them to. So let me go get those copies so you can get started if you want, and then I'll come back and we'll do 145. Once I find my keys. 11:15 we started, so we're out of here 40 minutes later, so 11:55. Keep that in mind if you...
I do. Do you want me to send it to you? That's great. I actually do like a lot.
Actually, it's easier to just tell me when lunch versus food.
All
Fifth
right.
grade and
Who needs one?
12:40. But just so you have it ready, so that's like an hour.
Oh, yeah.
That was like 45 minutes.
Anybody else need copies? Hard copy ones, a hard
Yeah,
copy.
what time?
You're welcome. Go.
10:50, yeah.
One extra in case you're feeling like you want it. I'll go back to 145. There.
I have it. I just want to get it and look at it.
All right, so
Yeah.
does anybody need to see 5 done, like find the derivative again? We did that yesterday. If you need me to do it, I'm happy to do it. Say the word. Good? Okay. Because what we found is that x equals 1 was the only critical value, and the domain of my derivative was that. So when I'm checking my intervals, and this is actually going to work out for 6 and for 7, I'll just kind of set up my analysis this way. So I'll go between 0 and 1, see what's going on, and then I'll, just for good measure, I'll stop at 1. And then I'll check from 1 to infinity. So I'll plug like 1/2 into the derivative. Root of there is 0. I'll plug like 2 in, see what I get. I end up getting a positive number here. I end up getting a negative number here. So this goes from increasing to decreasing. So this is a max at 1 comma, whatever I would get from plugging in 1, which is 3. Now they didn't really ask us for that, but that's okay. All they wanted for us to figure out is where is this thing increasing? Increasing from 0 to 1, right? Oh no, sorry, decreasing. Decreasing, because this one is the derivative being negative. So kind of answering this question there, I would say from 1 to infinity. Answer this question from 0 to 1. Give a reason why, because f prime of it, or sorry, g prime. Because g prime, oh no, we know g prime is negative. See, because the function is increasing. Because the function, oh, look at it again, decreasing because the function is increasing. Something along those lines, and you have the freedom to kind of represent your work however you want. Obviously, we've kind of done this, 3 column or 3 rows, depending on what direction you want to go. This little setup but you have the freedom to organize things in whatever way is comfortable and kind of makes sense for you. In a second, I will get to 8 and 9. Okay, let's do it. 8 and 9. All right. So what values is the slope of the line equal to 2? Okay, I will set derivative equal to 2. Now, if you feel like you're kind of out of space, here's a good way to deal with like changing equations kind of step by step, but not having the vertical space to do it. That equation implies this one, which implies this one, which implies this one, 1/9. Right, so if you feel like you want to do it that way, write an equation and then an arrow. And usually we write 2 lines for that arrow, not just one. But I think you're okay to do just 1 line instead. It's far from ideal to write your work out that way, but if you feel like you're crunched for space, equation implies equation implies equation. And you can even show the work underneath that way. That kind of thing. When you have a fraction equal to a constant or equal to a whole thing, they just kind of rotate. Cross multiply is really what's kind of happening there. Square both sides. You don't have to write anything that I'm writing down in blue, but that's kind of what's happening from one step to the next. And then finding the equation of the whole tangent line when x equals 4 eventually is going to look like this. Y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. And so I need to know the y value, I need to know the slope, and I need to know the x value where stuff's happening. Oh, well, they gave me the x value, that's 4. Okay, cool. So I need g of 4 to figure out the y value and g prime of 4 to figure out the slope. So y1 is going to be g4, m will be g5. So I got to go back to my function for the y value. You got to plug in 4 minus 4 plus 2, so 2. So that's 2 right there. And then plugging in 4 into the derivative. Oh, I don't have the. Oh, I have it up there. 1 over x minus 1. 1 over square root of x. So 1 over 2 minus 1, so negative 5. And I'm done. Oh, I got to draw it too. So then you just kind of draw that line as best you can. This is really a sketch. But there's one for the guy. Yay. If you have questions about that, want to talk anything through, just let me know. Otherwise, I will let you work. We got about 20, 25 minutes left. Come and peek at some answers over here in case you are curious and not confident in how you're doing. There's 1 through 11 front and back of that page. Yeah.
For 7.
On the review?
No,
On
on page
145?
145.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. On what intervals is g prime of x greater than 0?
Like, how did you know that it was 0?
A couple of reasons. Number one, I can just look at the graph. I have the graph, which means I can use that as reasoning, and I see that it's going up as I do that. If g prime of x is positive, my function's increasing. But the way that I kind of want to prove that, because just kind of eyeballing it is really not proof, I want to be sure. What I know is that the only critical value is right here when x is equal to 1. And what that did is it kind of broke my function into two sections, right? One critical value, so two sections. So I just tested a value over here, tested a value over here, knowing that whatever sign I get from that test value is going to work for that entire thing. And so I dropped in 1/2 into my derivative, and I got a positive number back. Yeah. And as soon as I get a positive number for my derivative, now I know that that entire interval is all positive in that section. So from 0.
Okay.
Cool?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Of course, yeah.
I can be informal, but like this.
Yeah. Sure.
So to plug in for this one,
Yeah.
how do you find the?
So if like zero's here, over here,
Oh, no.
pick anything.
Oh.
Yeah. So whatever you feel like plugging in. Yep.
I was looking at this, the.
I don't know. They said.
I was
Oh.
looking between that, those
Alright,
just.
now
those
yeah,
ones,
you're just
like,
looking
kind of
for an
fry.
angle somewhere.
And like actually really affects it.
You're like, you compounding, that prompt is so big, I was like.
I think it's like the same, like, I see the how, like, in my eyes, I see the story like this, all the things. Sweet. You know what I mean?
Dude, if I had to do 6 more books, every class, I'm done. It's time to graduate. Bye. Senioritis has never been more real than it is right now.
I didn't think I was gonna get seniors, and then spring break came. Actually, I think it's just how much I'm really played with myself.
Have you finished yet?
Why is it not uploading?
So much happens. So that you can get the plot line and actually look for like everything.
Well, I think.
Because it just got released by this week. I really want to tell you.
I'll probably be done Monday, so tell me Monday. If I don't finish up Monday, then I'll let you know.
But then it's no fun, because we can't describe how spicy it is.
No, we can't. Oh, because it's not hard to say.
Yeah. I think it's the one that I can do Monday. Because they said that they were finishing the units today.
Yeah.
And I finished the book.
Mr. Rosengren,
Uh-huh.
in part 3, it says for
I'm very
addition
excited.
practice,
I've read the
write a
last
single
one.
rational function.
Right.
Is that
The last
something
one.
we need
It
to know
spoils
for
the
the
whole
test? Like,
No.
would you prefer that?
Nope.
Really?
It literally, I was so.
As long as it doesn't have any negative exponents or rational exponents, you're good. Take care of your negatives and make sure if you need to write it with square roots or cube roots or whatever, make sure it's in the
Okay.
So you'll see when I
I just
write my
read
answers,
I'm just this close to going on the
I'm
Sparks
gonna
notes
box
before
in the ones that I definitely need, but additional
Yeah,
to show you what it looks like. So I box in that one, but it's gonna
That's
show you
competitive
what
nine.
it might look like. Because I wanted to do that for.
I'm probably gonna get like
Those are
50
the
yourself
boxes.
though. It's so good. Like, okay, sweet. I'm just so, oh no. It's just,
It's a book of
I have the
literary.
hardest, I love reading. I have the hardest time, like, when somebody tells me what to read. And that's why I read.
You just have to get past it. You just have to get past is he becoming a gentleman right now?
He does think he's going to love it.
Oh,
That's like the best part, because that's when all you guys start rolling into each other. And then you figure out how all the characters connect. And it's like magic.
I'm telling you, and like Herbert and him are my best friends. Oh, Herbert.
All good?
We'll find out.
Okay, good.
It's just wrong lesson.
No, Herbert's the guy that can beat the crap out of in his house, like backyard, and they're best friends now.
Really?
Yeah,
Aw.
it's so cute. It's like, ugh.
I had a beat a kid named Herbert too.
And he calls him, what does he call him? He calls him Herbie. No, Herbert calls him something different, and it's like, it's a symbol of something. I can't remember what it was. That's my favorite book I have to do.
I think I love
Cannibalism. No, cannibals. I hate, that's like getting the title.
Rosebuds the best. I agree with Brady on that.
I just like.
It's so messed up though.
Like, I think it's interesting.
I love the symbolism, which is like,
It's
like I mean, when she's like, it's the rapture, I was like, no way. Right.
She loves the rapture.
But she was like, and then she's like, and all these things represent the time. Like this one represents famine. I was like, no way. And she's like, Eli's a lunch. I'm like, no way.
I would do the thing.
I was like stunned.
Reads part of it and then takes.
Okay, well, my homework's just not gonna upload, so.
What?
That's
I
cool.
think she did.
Just email it to me then.
Vaguely remember. I don't know why.
I'm gonna do that in a second.
There was a
I will.
paragraph about.
If it doesn't work,
Okay.
And then she would go like.
and then later put it on Canvas so it just doesn't like look like it's missing on my end or on your end,
It was
like when you get home or
And
something.
that's just me.
Okay.
Like, no author should do that.
It's like, it literally says like 6.6 out of 6.6, but now it's not like.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
was such a fan.
Cancel submission. Let's try it.
I did not like Blood of Pie.
Thank you.
I did not like
I
that.
love Black.
I thought the bananas meant something, and for a whole day I spoke about bananas.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, I think you should stop going on that path. It's like, it doesn't really mean anything.
The bananas means
Now I
nothing.
know not to get caught up in the bananas.
Yeah.
It was so funny. She's like,
I was
the banana
doing
symbolizes. I was like, I don't think it
Yeah,
really does. She's like, shut up.
This is a banana sweet. That's what I do. I just, most worthless information, I focus on. Oh my god, that's what I did. I think the road was, I really like.
I love
No,
The road was
It just shocked me so badly, like, when she's like, this is what I need, I'm like,
I was the most best book ever. You will never convince me otherwise.
It's not boring, no, it's not boring at like, when he was out, like, when he was dying, you're like, okay.
Too late.
I was like, nothing happened, you was
Wait,
dying.
oh, are you talking about pie?
No, wait, I love pie.
It was good, and then it just slowed down, and you're just like,
Yeah,
right.
it was like interesting. And when you read the memoirs about like first chapter of Party Lost, you're like, okay.
So I'm suffering, they're dying.
You're like, okay, I'm suffering
It's
too.
like, part of the project was doing that. That's just fine.
No, like, and then she was like, I love that.
So like, well, I kind of watched.
I feel like it's really obvious, though. Like, that they had, that's it, like, after I
That book, I don't know what you guys are on, but that book was Great Expectations is not the best book I've ever read.
Hi, Brady.
It's
How's it going?
so good.
Okay, I see you need help though.
I did hurt you, though.
Is there something that I can do?
I just need to cover mine, but I just really look at the, it's just, it's the notes. If you're bored, come see the comedy show.
Like this and that, but
Oh, actually, you can tell all your students.
well, actually, let's skip
This
this.
is why
I wish I could go.
I have like 60 pages. I'm really close. Great expectations. It's,
You're all like, ooh.
I will advocate for that book till the day I die.
360 pages left of the book. Which one are you reading?
Great.
She hasn't finished it.
I have such a hard time in lit this game on it.
Oh,
And Dr. John. And they're like, you know, it's so great. And I'm like, no, don't tell me what's And I think it's because it feels like it's nice something to do with like, well, I don't have to always read it.
Yeah, literally, they're like, here's extra homework to do at home, and my book is very novel. I was like,
I'm just trying to pass AP psych, man.
I was like, I don't care about the AP test. The AP test is coming out of my pocket. So honestly, if I fail it, I understand. But like,
But that's the great thing about like psych, you can't BS. The lit, you can BS sometimes.
yeah.
You get better grades when you BS.
So yeah, literally, I was like, I literally did not. I did not
Yeah.
read Hamlet. I was not paying attention at all. I did not read Hamlet, and that was the best grade I've ever gotten. I right. All stars, and I was like, you know what? I'm just never gonna read a book again.
Are you gonna try to keep them and see if it goes up, or are you trying to sell it?
I would like to like, I'm sure that I could throw out of my legs, like, yes.
Okay, nice. There you go.
Yeah, they're like, this is so good, and like, we're like, we did. What time right did we just do? What? Oh, the poet.
Oh.
I didn't read any of the poetry. I didn't know who the guy was. I didn't read that. And I wrote it in Portuguese. Everybody was like, this is a great essay, good job. And I was like,
Yeah, I actually tried and the mother was like, your thesis needs more development. Thanks. Yeah, we're gonna grade all ours.
well, I have my grades like everywhere. Like, literally grades like everywhere. Not in my
Just excited about it.
Yeah, really. The only thing he said is, your work side is off, and I was like, I didn't know what I was doing. Thank you.
Yeah, I found the author with really relatively short poems, and I just talked about why they're short. She loves simplicity. Like, I'm like, read, equal life and change.
Literally, your essay was like all of that, and I was like, they're gonna love this essay.
Well, because it was just, it's so simple, but it was just like.
Use the limit definition to find the difference. How do you just not do this?
The one with the, is the limit different, like the one, are you talking like the X?
The limit as h goes to 0 of f of x
Okay,
plus
thanks.
h minus f of x all over h.
That's
Wait.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Okay, so I don't want to accidentally use the power rule.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
But we can't use it to verify our work.
And you should, absolutely.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
you should, okay. Period.
The limit as h approaches 0, f
It's like,
of
it's like the, it's kind of like the
x plus
difference
h.
quotient thing. Yeah, it's like that, you put X plus H into it.
X plus h.
Oh.
Dude, minus
It's just,
f of
it's
x
the front, it's the first couple pages.
over
Yeah.
h.
Oh, man.
I didn't actually.
Are you gonna go into like, like, are you like, did you reveal this? Are you only going to like the third power with those? Okay. Okay, because I can't do the.
And hey, notice the limit definition doesn't have any rational functions or radical functions. You're welcome.
Thank you.
I was like, what's a rat?
I was like, wait, what is that?
You do not have to worry about rationalizing
Oh, that's nice.
or like combining fractions in
I
order to like
guarantee I'll
factor
still
stuff out.
rationalize because I don't
Do you
know.
think it makes sense that calculus A makes more sense than pre-calc to me?
That's not the first time I've heard that.
But why do you think that is? Because like it failed, because pre-calc's like the foundation.
Calc is algebra 3.
Okay, that's probably why.
That's what it is. It's algebra 3 and it's college straight.
Oh,
Like it's college algebra and college three.
that
What
makes
we're
sense.
doing.
It's the
So
straight part.
that's what makes it harder. And but then calculus is like we just all start together and we take our time. Like we go slow and like we're finishing chapter 2 more than halfway into the semester.
That's true. Should we just not do chapter 3 and just continue
Ooh,
chapter 2
you-
through that?
I don't know about that. I think you're gonna want to know chapter 3. And like that's when stuff gets fun. You can do like that's when I can like chuck stuff through the air and we can see what's going on.
That's good stuff for you.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know if I'll actually
like,
chuck
it's
stuff
going,
through
you're
the
like, oh my
air,
gosh, I
but
did not mean to do that.
we'll imagine throwing things in the air and dropping balls from top of the Empire State Building,
Visualize.
jumping off a diving board and
Is it gonna be like those questions geometry that was like find the shadow of the
I
Empire State
hate
Building?
those.
so
I failed geometry. No.
I literally hate
there's a
those questions.
lamppost and then there's a person standing right here and their shadow past the thing like over there,
Yeah.
right?
I hated that.
So like there's the length of the shadow, there's the distance away, there's the height. So that's like basic geometry stuff.
Yeah,
Okay, so in calculus, what happens is he moves in one direction or the other.
No, he doesn't. He just stays there. No, he stays there. He's glued to the
The
ground.
derivative of his distance with respect to
I
time.
can't believe I cried over math I haven't even learned yet.
The rate of the change of the shadow with respect to
Are
time.
we learning that this
Mhm.
No, we're not.
It's called related rates.
Can we just text cinder blocks to his feet so he doesn't?
Yes.
Related rates are a lot of fun.
Well, who's
So,
gonna come up in
we'll
his
like-
life and be like, measure the like him moving in his shadow?
We'll fill a cone with water and then we'll cut a hole in the bottom
We're gonna look through.
and we'll figure out how fast the water is moving out of the cone. But then checking to see what's happened to the height of the water, checking to see what's happened to the volume of the water while that happens. So
Yeah, if
we
someone
can
asked
do
that question,
three-dimensional
it's all that.
calculus in 2 dimensions.
Oh.
Related rates. When I talked to Lynn, she's like, you have to get to related rates. So we were definitely getting.
Let me talk to
But
Liz.
it's all
Let me have a sit down with Mr.
we
Lynch.
look
real
at
fast.
V, we look at H, we look at DV,
Do you
DC,
think
and we
we
look
can
at
teach it the
TH.
last 2 weeks and seniors aren't here?
Oh, yeah, you probably won't get it. Seniors won't get to related rates.
Really?
But seniors will be finding the derivative.
Oh, I heard.
Of the derivative.
Maybe, we'll see.
Oh, I can.
I have to,
I feel
I
confident.
have to test out of like, I'm doing like the thing where you test out of like 3 math classes and
Right.
I'm not gonna pass it. I don't know how to do that. It's like college
You
algebra.
probably won't be able to test into Calc 2. You probably just start with Calc 1. Which would be a really good, easy class to start with when you're first kind of getting used to being on campus. So, especially not knowing what we're really getting ourselves into. We don't know what the fall is.
Do you think I could test out of college algebra?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I
It's-
have a credit for it.
It's gonna be quadratics, it's gonna be polynomials and rationals, it's gonna be exponentials.
Okay, because I think there's 2 tests I have to take, one for English.
If you can do those, then you'll be fine.
I know, my still like that.
It's vibrating.
Wait, how do you?
Rosie,
Yeah.
if Delaney and I were juniors, what math classes would you put us in?
Either A, B, or B, C, whichever one you want.
Okay.
Okay.
But what would you?
What
like,
would you put it in?
B, C.
Yeah. This mood like
We
Caroline.
suck at math.
And I've said that to a lot of people, and a lot of people are just like, no, I'm just gonna do A, B next year.
No, I
Which
was
is
like,
great.
I would have
You
done
guys are
A
gonna
too.
crush it, go get a 5.
I would have done BC. I'd have been like, let's go.
It's so much fun. It is
Oh,
so much harder.
It's so much harder.
BC is like people come back to me after this class. They go to BC. They come back like, I wish
I did it.
I was in a class as easy as yours.
Wow, for calculus.
As calculus.
Rosie, why do you want me to take that?
Because it's gonna be amazing. You're gonna learn so much,
Can
and
you imagine taking
You're allowed.
FRQs in grade?
which is amazing. It's awesome.
I would have definitely done AD.
It's so cool. You get
I would
to
have
like,
BC. And I would have
You get to like-
BC with me.
I know, I'd be careful.
Because I made you do this with me. Oh, no, you did this. You made me do this with you. Cause I was gonna go with Carl.
Yeah, because,
You get to take
well,
this.
because Hopper was like so
You
like,
get to do
that's
all
like
that
just
around the x-axis and make like
He was I don't understand why you're talking about
like a base, like, so you can kind of imagine like.
over.
There we
That's
go.
going into like regular.
Yeah, cause like you guys should go into regular pre-calculus.
I imagine
Yeah.
being like.
There we go.
I was like, dude, I carry your class.
You did very good. We're like, we were in this class.
No,
So
I
when
think
we
you
do
went
the
into
revision, we kind of
this class after my spaghetti project.
We'll learn it in rugby how to do the anti-derivative and what it gives you is the area on.
Let's be honest, all three of us.
Them
To
all
be able to
way.
find all that space.
I don't know.
It's
I'm gonna check
double.
I'm gonna go knock on
He's not a teacher that knows
Because
like,
I
I
was
was
like,
He hated us.
I literally not do well, so she understood stuff, so she could get like, cause like when you were confused about stuff, I don't help you. I yell at you.
He doesn't, he's like that. What do you need to know?
Okay, I can't do math today, I'm done, my brain is fried.
I want my spaghetti. I really like I wasn't crazy. You were the not
That's so, there's so much.
I want my hands
Calculus is
back.
amazing.
Yeah, that was.
Like, we get to do stuff like that.
College, like,
Later grades, stuff is moving and changing. Like that together at the same time. That'll be the. But chapter 3 starts next week, so that's good. I'll show you 3 rules. Actually, you know what? Yeah, look at chapter 3. Really rates my.
I don't think I got it.
Chapter 4 is more like second derivative stuff. The derivative of derivative, and how fast are the slopes changing? The slopes are.
But it was worth a lot.
The positive, because the slopes are decreasing as I do this, right?
We
The slopes are
should after
increasing
this
as I do that.
class.
Because, well, we can tell that if Aiden would come over and just let her know lesson.
Oh, there. So there's a version
I
I
saw
want.
Aiden today at the
There's a version that
table.
you decided to run.
He didn't recognize me.
Really?
I said, hey, Aiden. He was like, who are you?
Oh my God.
Really? I was like, I'm the person that you ruined their relationship with your math teacher.
I saw him all in and I walked in and was like, you know what? That's so easy.
I just can't do math anymore today. I have to be honest.
I gotta be honest with you.
I heard you.
I can't.
I heard you.
I am also.
I have to do a time to write about the personal essay that we haven't done since 7th grade year.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to do these. I really like this chapter.
Me too.
Is chapter 3 better business?
It's just more complicated. We just get into those things that we couldn't do before,
Yeah.
or just don't want to. Maybe I don't want to rewrite the function by dividing everything and
Yeah.
like, maybe I just want to get right to the derivative right away.
But
I'll teach you how to do
it's
that.
well, okay.
So it's shortcuts for the harder problems,
Oh, that's
or when
nice.
we're feeling lazy.
That's good. Okay. The only thing that
It's
doesn't
just
make
like,
sense
if we're
is
feeling
chapter.
lazy with the function, well, then we have more work to just do the derivative. But I can get you like right to the derivative,
And then-
you just have to set it up a certain way.
Okay.
And it goes, I'm not gonna bother us with like where it all comes from. It all goes back to
Yeah.
plug it into the limit and see what happens.
Okay.
But they figured out 3 rules. Product rule for things being multiplied, quotient rule for rational functions, and then the change rule for when you have like more than one thing happening together.
Oh, that's a easy one.
So like what it, like if it, instead of like x to the third, what if it was like 5x plus 7 to the third?
Oh,
I don't want to multiply that all out necessarily. Is there a faster way to do that? And the answer is yes.
yes.
It's actually pretty easy.
Is the seniors final gonna be on just after 1, 2, and 3?
Probably.
Okay,
Oh, nice.
that's what I thought. I was just like, I didn't
Yeah,
know.
that's probably what we'll
Are they
get
taking
to.
their
'Cause we'll have a month.
Okay,
I want to try to finish chapter 3 before the end of April.
okay.
Testing week is gonna screw up my chances to do that though, I think.
Do we know,
No, that's totally.
do you know when like Sorry, my brain's like not working.
They did?
For seniors, is our last day the 6th or the 7th?
I think it's the 6th. I think
The
it's
6th,
Thursday.
and we don't have any finals on that day, or are we doing finals that day?
No, I think your finals are like the 5th and the 6th.
Okay.
But I don't know that for sure
Okay.
because that's more of like we have block scheduling kind of idea. Maybe it's 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, and they'll say, okay, all senior math exams happen on the 3rd, and senior history exams happen on the 3rd, and senior language, I don't know.
Happy Friday, Mustangs. Just a reminder, team.
Nice. I think it's our senior.
Hey, listen up.
All right, Mustangs again, seniors, you can come pick up your senior sign.
Yeah, do that
At the
today.
Mustang Market, while you're in the cafeteria.
It's so much more.
During your lunch.
Look at this, like,
Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.